Clovercrest Media Group presents a CMG podcast. Keys to the City.
Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know.
Crossed up by Kobe, little floater to Shaq, and then Shaq goes like this, and the rest is history. Pay attention. Don't tell me what to do, devil woman.
But
Speaking of those Lakers, hold on. But I didn't make my. I said Denver's gonna win.
Yeah, you did. You said that.
There's no other show like that. Clovercrest is doing great things right now.
Streaming everywhere.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Posting Up podcast, presented to you by CMG Sports and Clovercrest Media Group. I'm joined, by always, with Big Jace, King Zay, and we have our very wonderful guest, Steve Risser, joining us today. How we doing today, fellas?
Very good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yep. Yeah, thank you for coming on. We'll start it right off. The NBA announces that they're going to have All-Star Weekend in Atlanta on March 7th. The NBAPA and the NBA have been working on an agreement to get the All-Star Weekend going. It will just be a one-day event with all the skills events in the game on the same day. But some of the NBA players across the league, including LeBron, De'Aaron Fox, Giannis, have expressed their frustrations of having the All-Star game, obviously with all the risk of the COVID pandemic going on. So I was just wondering all your guys' thoughts. We'll start with you, Zay. What do you think of the NBA going forward with this announcement, and do you think it's the right idea?
I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, if you can play a regular game, why can't you play an All-Star game? Why can't you have events? I mean, personally, I want to see it because I think Julius Randle deserves to be playing in it this year. So I want to see someone represented from my team in it this year. So I don't see a reason why you can't play it. If you can play regular season games, you should be able to play an All-Star game. And I think it's the same risk to me. I don't think you're taking any more risk by having an All-Star game. I don't know.
All right. Yeah, interesting. Jace, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think from what we saw with them in the bubble, what they're doing now, I think they're taking the right steps and making the right precautions. I understand that the All-Star game, it's more pageantry now than anything, and so I understand that some players might not want to do that, but that just might be what the All-Star game has become. Maybe the top players just want to sit out of it now. We see in the NFL teams do that with the Pro Bowl all the time. So I mean, I get it. It stinks, but I understand it's a pandemic, but if the NBA has done everything right to this point, I don't see how they could do this wrong. Do you agree with that, Steve? How do you see the All-Star game?
Yeah, I like the idea of raising all the money for HBCU. I really, really like that. I like that idea. But I understand what the players are thinking, though. I mean, they're going to have to fly in for one day. Usually it's an All-Star weekend where there's the fans. There won't be that many fans there this year in Atlanta. So I understand what the players are feeling like not wanting to do it. I totally understand that. In the middle of a pandemic, they really don't want to make a trip they don't really have to take. And you're seeing it this year with the NBA schedule, too. A lot of teams are playing 2-game series against each other so they could just stay in the same city. I don't think a lot of players in the middle of this pandemic want to fly to Atlanta just to play for pretty much for just one night.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys bring up some good points. I tend to agree with Steve, though. I do understand the players' frustrations. Obviously, you're bringing all the best players in the NBA into one spot, and just to have the risk of having it spread through all those players, and then them bringing it back to not just their teams, but obviously their families, and so on. And I just think that Obviously, and then you have teams like the Heat and the Lakers that, we're looking forward to this break, maybe a week off break after the shortest offseason in NBA history, only getting a little over 2 months. So I think, some players are looking forward to that. And they could easily honor all these players with their all-star selections without having to play the game. So, like Zay said, they could honor players like Julius Randle, who deserve that spot, and other players, that haven't been in that spot before. So I get both sides, but I do tend to agree with the players. I understand why they would be frustrated. So before we get to a game break, we're gonna do a little segment. Just a couple games, before we get to our next episode on Tuesday that we're gonna be looking forward to. Obviously Saturday, Sunday, Monday, the next couple of days. So we'll start with you, Steve. What's one game that really catches your eye and that you're gonna want to tune into in the next couple of days?
I'd say Monday night. I'd say that Bucks Nuggets game. Obviously, you got Giannis going up against a Nuggets team that I think has potential to compete with the Clippers and the Lakers. I think that's the one team in the Western Conference, and you saw when they faced the Jazz last Sunday. That's the one team in the Western Conference that has potential to compete with those teams. And you saw the Nuggets beat the Clippers last year, and even though they're 12-9, you look at this Nuggets team. Michael Porter Jr. has been out for most of the year, but when he's played, he's been really good. You got Murray, who hasn't been he's not been as good as he's been in the bubble, but he's still a really good point guard. And you got Jokic, the best center in the league. So I'd really like to see this matchup between the Bucks and the Nuggets on Monday.
Absolutely, yeah, it's going to be a great game. How about you, Jace? Which game are you most excited for?
Well, I got my eye on Sunday night NBA TV. Well, Sunday during the day NBA TV. It's at 2 p.m. tomorrow. Boston going to Phoenix to take on the Suns. This is a doubleheader for the Suns. They got Cleveland the next night. I'm interested to see this, and I'm interested to really see DeAndre Ayton in this game. See how he attacks Tristan Thompson and Baines for the Celtics, because the Celtics are very weak on the inside. And Baines, he's averaging 12.8 rebounds already. I think he should really dominate this game. And then I'm excited to see how Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart try to slow down Booker and Paul, and then Tatum is going to do his thing. We talked about it a week ago. Tatum is a dark horse MVP candidate, and he saw it, and we'll talk to him. I'm sure we'll talk to him more about when we get closer to the All-Star game. But Zay, what matchup you like in?
I'm interested in tonight's matchup between the Nets and the 76ers, actually. It's a game I'm interested in. I want to see how the Nets are going to perform without Kevin Durant there. I've noticed the Nets really are terrible on defense. They've scored almost 130 points a game now just to win games. So I want to see how they'll do today without one of their big scorers, if they'll be able to play defense and stop Embiid inside. That's one of their big issues, that they can't stop anybody inside. So we'll see if they'll be able to correct that tonight. But that's a big game I'm interested in.
Yeah, there's Lucas getting pumped up for the game tonight. That's definitely going to be a good one. Obviously, I think the Nets, they looked like they struggled a little bit without KD last night. So we'll see if Kyrie and James Harden could carry the load. But that's definitely it could be an Eastern Conference Finals preview. So I think it will be a good one. You guys mentioned all the games that I had, but one other game is Jazz versus Pacers Sunday at 1 p.m. I think obviously Jace's Jazz, they're red hot right now. They had that big winning streak, and they've been playing tremendous. Obviously Donovan Mitchell is a bona fide stud. You got Rudy Gobert holding down the paint, and then obviously you got other scorers like Jordan Clarkson off the bench and Bogdanovich, who wasn't there for the Jazz in the playoffs last year. I think they missed him a lot, but he's been coming back strong. And then for the Pacers, they started off really hot. They've kind of cooled off recently, so we'll see if they can get some momentum going back and playing against a good team in the Jazz. But that's one that I'm going to keep my eye on for Sunday.
Oh, would you say that would be that matchup would be a dogfight, Sean?
That's two tough defensive teams. I think it's definitely going to be a dogfight. We might see a low-scoring game, maybe in the low hundreds or 90s, but that's definitely a defensive brawl for sure.
Yeah, well, you want to know what else is awesome for fights? Throwing Jabs, a CMG podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our main event.
All right, so obviously with the NBA announcing the All-Star game, it's coming around soon enough. A little over a month away now, and so we're gonna go around the horn here and just mention some of the names of the players who haven't made an All-Star game yet in their career. Some of the players hoping to make their first All-Star game this season, and there's definitely a lot of good names out there. So I'll start with you, Jace, on this one. Who's one player that you think is deserving of getting their first All-Star nod this season?
Right now, I got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from the Thunder.
Good one.
He is balling out. And I mean, the one big thing I think the Thunder are lacking is that one real facilitator, and he's leading their team with 6 assists. He is doing that, but he's also bringing a lot of scoring. If they could trade and get like Alonzo Ball, someone who could really like step up and facilitate, they might compete pretty well in the West. Maybe fight for that 8th seed. But I like what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is doing this year. He's really stepping up and being the best player on this Thunder team with Chris Paul leaving. So I like this kid, and he deserves to be an All-Star this year.
That's a great
pick. You, Steve.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
I'm going to go with Zach LaVine of the Bulls. I think he's been playing great the last couple of years with the Bulls. He's turned into one of the top shooting guards in the league. And the Bulls are not bad this year. They're not. I mean, obviously they're not great, but they're still like maybe a couple games under 500. And this is the best they've been in a while ever since they've traded Jimmy Butler. So I would go with Zach LaVine as a guy I would like to see make the All-Star team.
Absolutely, yeah. LaVine, is a great scorer, and he's been doing a lot for that Bulls team. Carrying them on the back. So I like that pick a lot. How about you, Zay?
Come on, is that a question?
I figured.
Julius Randle.
Julius Randle. He's been playing outstanding this year. He's been everything. The offense has been running through him. He has the defense as one of the, I believe, the number 2 defense in the NBA right now. He's anchoring that team completely. He is the team. The team goes as Randle goes, and he deserves an All-Star push this year. So Julius Randle, I got to see him this year, bro.
And as a Knicks fan, I want him to be one of those pieces going forward with him and RJ Barrett. I want him being one of the pieces going forward.
I don't know if there's gonna be enough room with topping it.
That's the thing. Yeah.
That's the thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some signs for hope for the Knicks. After obviously a rough last couple of years, I think they're actually headed in the right direction right now with Tom Thibodeau and that tough defense. One name that I'm shocked that nobody said this one yet. Jaylen Brown from the Celtics, obviously. Scoring a career high 26 points per game right now, and doing it super efficiently too. He's shooting over 50% from the field and 42% from the 3-point line, and that's not just taking. It's not just because he's taken a lower amount of shots. He takes a lot of shots for this team, and also not just what he's doing offensively, but on the defensive side of the ball. He's one of the best on-ball defenders on the wing in the entire NBA. So I think Jaylen Brown is definitely deserving of this All-Star team, and he's shown it this year. Obviously, he's shown signs in the past that he could get to that spot, but he's really reached his potential this year, and I think he's definitely deserving of the first All-Star nod this season.
Oh, hell yeah. He's been balling out.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so now we'll get into our top 10 reel here after, we do a game break. So, yeah, let's get to that. Finish. James Ennis.
Big block.
Denied by Jared Allen, the pro. One of the best rim protectors in the league. Number 8. D'Angelo Russell.
He still got that ice in his face.
Yep. The game clincher last night, winning the game for the T-Wolves. Number 7.
Pass from LeBron back doing it.
Yep, what a pass. The THT, Talen Horton-Tucker, he's a young baller on that Lakers team. Number 6. Tyler Hero. Ooh, the Bam Adebayo, one of the best young big men in the league. Look at that finish. Number 5. Little Timberwolves Thunder action. Okay. Yeah, Malik Beasley. Strong finish. Number 4, Cavs Bucks.
Giannis with that double block. Not once, twice. Get up out of here.
Yes, sir. Why he's the defensive player of the year.
Yes, sir.
Number 3, we got Sweet Lou Will. Zubaka, the beast down low in LA. Strong finish over Tristan Thompson. Getting down to the top 2 here.
Jason gonna like this one.
Oh, there we go.
Murray.
Jamal Murray, he can get up there. Oh, on AD's head too. And finally, the number 1 play.
Draymond running that floor.
Oh,
Yep.
coast to coast. Boom.
Draymond isn't as aggressive nowadays, but he can still pull it out. He showed it right there.
Zay, I love these top 10s.
They're awesome.
They're awesome. They are very awesome.
I try.
But
I just hope the feds don't come looking.
yeah, they are awesome. But if you like your wrestling, cross them. Check out this podcast.
The Cross'em Wrestling Entertainment Podcast, presented by Clovercrest Media, is what you AEW fans have been looking for. Noah Cross and Tyler Bard give their take on every week's episode of Dynamite. If you are a massive AEW fan, then it is time to join us every Sunday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Stay Cross'em.
Yeah, so if you're a big wrestling fan, make sure you check out Cross'em Wrestling, also the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show on Clovercrest Media. But we're gonna get to some trade talk. Obviously, we're over a quarter way into the season, so it's time to start talking about who's gonna be buying at the trade deadline, who's gonna be selling. And there's some names floating around that definitely could be dealt within the next couple of weeks or maybe within the next month. So we're gonna go around the horn here. We're gonna have some names. We're just gonna see. Who do you think is the most perfect fit for these players? What team do you think would be a perfect fit for them if they got traded to that squad? So we'll start off with Raptors point guard Kyle Lowry. Obviously, they've been playing better as of late. They got the big win the other night, but there's still a chance that he could be traded if the Raptors think that it's time to rebuild. So we'll start with you, Zay. What's the perfect fit for Kyle Lowry, you think?
Oh, that's hard to say, honestly. Honestly, I think he might be best where he's at. I couldn't see a perfect fit for him right now. Maybe in OKC, but like I said, he doesn't play the traditional point guard position as much, so it's hard for me to see him, really fit into that role. So I don't really see him moving anywhere. I see Kyle Lowry really staying where he's at. I don't know, Steve. Maybe I'm wrong.
I like the Clippers for him. I think they need another scoring guard. I like that fit with the Clippers. You put him with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, get another scoring guard there. I think that could be a really, really good fit for the Clippers, because Patrick Beverley, he's really good defensively, but he can't score. And Reggie Jackson's a backup. He's good, but he's a backup. So I like him. Kyle Lowry with the Clippers makes sense to me.
Yeah, I think that would definitely bring them closer to the Lakers in terms of talent. So, Jace, who do you think would be a good fit for Kyle Lowry?
Dude, I don't know. Maybe I've been talking to my boy Chris too long, but the Thunder, man, I think if you can get him, keep Gilgeous-Alexander there. That too, I think they can compete and possibly make the playoffs. The Thunder would have to give up some draft assets and a couple young pieces, but they have a young squad. Get him to be the veteran to lead them through. Look what they did with Chris Paul. I think Kyle Lowry is a poor man's Chris Paul, and I think he could benefit the Thunder a lot.
You think he's worth draft picks?
The Thunder have a lot to give up. They got 12.
I don't know. Maybe I can see talent, but I don't know about draft picks.
Second round draft picks.
I think Kyle Lowry is definitely still deserving of some draft picks. I think that's a great pick. One team I had in mind was the Miami Heat. Obviously, they struggled out of the gate to start the year. Jimmy Butler missed a lot of games, but they don't have that true traditional point guard. They have Goran Dragic, but he comes off the bench most of the time. So in that starting position, I think Kyle Lowry would definitely help them out scoring-wise, because I think, Tyler Hero usually is playing the point guard right now, and Jimmy Butler. I think they're both better off the ball. So if you can bring a point guard like Kyle Lowry in there, obviously brings some scoring, and he brings that defensive toughness too to a Miami Heat team that could definitely use it. They've been playing a little bit better as of late, but I think that, if they really want to make a push for that spot in the playoffs, I think that, going for Kyle Lowry would be a good fit. And then one other team I thought was the Knicks. I think he might be a good fit there. He brings that defense. You don't like that? You
Not
like
at all.
Elfrid Payton too much?
No. I actually, I'm more of a Quickly fan.
Yeah, you got a point. Quickly is a monster. Yeah, he should be in the talks for Rookie of the Year, I think.
Yeah,
All right.
think so too. Agree with that.
Yeah. 100%. So, obviously, I think this is the biggest name that we're going to be talking about is Bradley Beal. Probably, if not the best scorer, he's one of the best scorers of the basketball in the league. Obviously, I think his talent is just wasting away in Washington, and he's a little bit stubborn. I think that he says he wants to stay in Washington and ride it out and try and win there. But at some point, I think that Bradley Beal is going to get frustrated and that he's going to want to go to a championship contender. So, Steve, we'll start with you. What team do you think would be a really good fit for Bradley Beal to go to?
Bucks, because you look at the Bucks. I mean, they got Drew Holiday as the point guard, obviously with Middleton and Giannis. He goes to the Bucks because at shooting guard they're not great with DiVincenzo. If you put him on the Bucks, he's now the starting shooting guard. You have DiVincenzo coming off the bench. That could get Giannis over the hump and get to the finals if Bradley Beal goes to the Bucks.
Oh, I love the Bucks pick, and I'm thinking along similar lines with you, Steve. I think the Sixers. You got to give up Ben Simmons, get this guy, him with Embiid dominating the post, being able to kick it out to a Beal, just light it up. I think those two could really, really compete in this East and make the Sixers possibly even a favorite in the East. I don't know, Zay, where you think Beal could go?
I mean, I would love to see him in LA. I'd love to see him play for the Lakers. I think they could use more firepower right now, and I think he could be that guy to do it for them. But you got to think about it. Realistically, the Nets are probably going to come out of the East, and you're going to need as much firepower as possible. And I think Bradley Beal is a guy who can bring that to the team and help them obviously shoot better on the outside. They have some shooters, but obviously no one's going to score like Bradley Beal on that team. Dennis Schroeder's, he's a pretty good scorer. I can't remember his
KCP is a good shooter.
KCP is a good shooter, but obviously none of them score like Bradley Beal scores. It's just not the same. So
yeah,
I want to see him in LA.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if Bradley Beal was on the Lakers, that would be a scary squad. I don't think any team wants a part of the Lakers right now. If they were to get Bradley Beal, I don't think anyone would want to touch them. So yeah, a team that I thought of was the Nuggets. Obviously, the Bucks and the Sixers are good picks to get over the top in the East. I think in the Western Conference, I think a team that could definitely make a move to take them over the top and maybe compete with the Clippers and the Lakers is the Nuggets. I think, Gary Harris is an all right shooting guard. He's not terrible, but if you put Bradley Beal in there and move Harris to the bench, that just helps them out tremendously. It's, creates better scoring opportunities for Jamal Murray, who struggled a little bit this season. And then obviously Jokic, he's one of the best passers in the league, especially for a big man. So I think that would be a lot of fun to watch offensively. The next name we got up is Evan Fournier from the Magic. He's, a little underrated in the trade deadline, but he is a good scorer. I think that he's got the ability to go out and get you somewhere from 15 to 20 points a night if he's in the right situation. So we'll go to you, Zay. Who do you think Evan Fournier would fit good on?
Come back to me. I'm still thinking on this one.
Good. All right. How about you, Jace?
There I gotta go the Trailblazers. Just give a little extra scoring on that in that front court. They do need some help in the back court. I mean, Nurkic is, whenever he's healthy, he's solid. But just another guy who Dame can dish it to when he needs to, who can make baskets more consistently. I think he'd be solid. I don't know if he would help the Trailblazers compete to win the West, or get to the finals, but they would help them. Because whenever Dame turns it on, he can compete with anyone. But I don't know if he can help them that much, but he can definitely make them a beast in the playoffs and maybe pull off an upset.
Yeah,
I don't know about you, Steve.
I'm going to go with the Lakers. I think that if they need a shooting guard. He would be Caldwell Pope is average at best. Caldwell Pope then goes to the bench. You got Schroeder, you got Fournier, you got LeBron, you got AD, and then obviously you got Harrell and Gasol at center. So it would make them deeper, and I think it would give the Lakers more scoring.
For sure. Zay, you come up with a team?
Honestly, no. I'm trying to think of teams that could use a small forward right now. That's
one team I thought of was the Mavericks. Obviously, I just think their offense isn't up to par with what they had last year. They've had a terrible start to the year, and we talked about it last episode how some of their guards are struggling. Obviously, Josh Richardson, that trade hasn't worked out for them so far, and Hardaway hasn't been playing that great either. So I think Fournier could help them offensively for the Mavericks. I think that would be a good fit for him.
Maybe, now I think about it, maybe the Rockets, when I think about it. Maybe the Rockets, Christian Wood just went down. They could use a little bit more scoring. Maybe they can convince, Oladipo to stay a little longer, put a decent team around him. Maybe he'll decide to re-up. So, maybe he could go to Rockets and fill in there. But that's the best spot I can give him.
Yep. All right, so the last name we're going to highlight here is DeMar DeRozan. I think he'd be a great veteran presence to any team. The Spurs have been pretty good this season, but they might think about trading him, and because they do have a very young team, so maybe they just want to get some more young talent and build around that. So I think DeMar DeRozan would definitely be a good fit for a team that's looking to contend. So Steve, which team do you think DeRozan would fit pretty good on?
Go with the Heat. I think he'd be a really good scorer. He would add scoring to that team. Obviously, you got Butler and you got Bam, but if they could add it, because Bam, he's up and coming. He's not the great. I mean, I don't love centers in terms of scores. So I think that DeRozan could add some scoring to the Heat. So I'm going to go with DeRozan, and I'm going to go with the Heat for DeRozan.
I like it. How about you, Zay?
How about my Knicks? Actually, I feel like if we can make a trade package where we can get Kevin Knox and get him shipped off there. And
I like that.
I think we could have something in there with RJ Barrett. You'd have him. You'd have Randall. You'd have a solid core right there.
And you can move Barrett to the 3.
Yeah.
You can move Barrett to the 3. Have DeRozan play the 2.
Yeah, I think that'll work. And not to mention the Knicks are really looking for someone at the end of the game to close it out. And I think DeRozan could be that person to close out for them. Because that's all they're missing right now, honestly.
Yeah, not the best 3-point shooter, but a really good closer.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How about you, Jace?
I mean, with Fournier, I said him on the Blazers could make them compete more in the West. Now, DeRozan would be the trade that can make them win the West. That front court of Lillard, McCollum, and DeRozan, they might have to give up McCollum, but I'm okay with that McCollum for DeRozan trade. But if you get that as your front court, that's the best front court in the West. I don't like.
It's mighty Utah Jazz.
No, I know. I mean, I would love him on the Jazz. I do think that's a realistic trade to do. But a team that can compete and with this and make this trade big with DeRozan and Lillard together, I think that's a solid duo and can compete with any team in the NBA.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. That's actually who I had was the Blazers. But another team that I thought of was the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think that they struggle at that 2 position, and also DeMar DeRozan can play the 3 as well. So I think they struggle at that position, obviously with Chetty Osman. But they have the young guards that they build around with Sexton and Garland and Okoro, and they have the bigs with Andre Drummond and Jared Allen, obviously. So I think that one missing piece would be DeMar DeRozan, and I think obviously the Cavs aren't competing for a championship this year. I think they're still obviously building towards that with the young roster, but I think that would help them out a lot. I think if they were able to get DeMar DeRozan, they would definitely secure at least a 6 through 8 seed in the Eastern Conference, especially because it's weak, definitely at the bottom. So I think the Cavaliers would be a good team for DeMar DeRozan.
I like that.
Yep. All right. So just that will about do it for our show. Unless we got any last comments from you guys.
I'm good.
No.
Thanks for having me on, though. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Steve, for coming on. We always enjoy your insight. You're obviously, very knowledgeable, and we definitely appreciate you coming on. And Lucas, we were without Lucas today, but he'll be back on Tuesday. So we'll be looking forward to that Tuesday show. So everyone, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on Tuesday for the next Posting Up podcast.
Peace.